Hi, I'm Darren Herft. Welcome to this first session chatting about the music industry and in particular what's been going on with AI. As we enter 2026, there's been some fundamental change that's going on across the industry. Technology like we've never seen before perhaps, making things different as far as the way music is being produced, music's being accessed, and certainly how fans are engaging with music as well. Technology, though, is not new to the music industry. For those of us, that have been in the industry now for a while, recall over the last 30, 40 years, some massive changes that we've all seen. So, whether it be the CD industry or the CD era that started in 1985, that fundamentally changed the way that music was consumed or purchased by fans around the world, which led to, a really particularly solid period of time for the industry. Unfortunately, they cut short in 1999, 2000, when Sean Parker notoriously brought in the infamous Napster, which changed again the industry as we all know it, and most importantly, technology behind all of these changes. So certainly from the record industry to the CD, from CD to what happened with the digital side of things initially in an illegal sense, but more over the last 15 years moving to some streaming platforms that have become the norm and have become very successful in their own right. So how does AI fit into all of that? And how does AI perhaps carve out a new frontier for where the music industry is headed, certainly in 2026 and beyond? So there are three aspects of AI in regards to the music industry we're going to focus a little bit on here in this session today. First of all, probably one of the most important questions on everyone's mind when it comes to what they're learning about or hearing about when it comes to AI music is that of what is real. So number one, how does everyone know what is real? And certainly, for music fans and music people and people in the industry, the number one aspect that we all want to see protected is that genuine, creative music artists, people that have spent their time working on their craft, certainly aren't compromised, and we don't lose that genuine authenticity from real, genuine music artists. So number one is what is real. Now, this isn't made easier when platforms such as Suno come onto the marketplace. Everyone's now becoming more and more aware of Suno. Reportedly, as many as 7 million tracks are being made every single day on Suno. That's 210 million tracks a month, and it's ranging therefore into the billions of tracks that are being produced, on an annual basis as we go forward. So, yeah, some really significant numbers there that are being posed up on platforms, not just Suno, but similar and other new platforms that are coming around on how music can be made. So, from that perspective, the world started to evolve already. The music industry started to evolve. New laws are coming into place. In the US, for example, laws have started to come in around copyright and who can own copyright in the music industry, and also leading to our second point, which is who gets paid. All right, so if I'm using AI, can I create a track using AI and can I get paid? If I'm not a real genuine artist, can I get paid? The answer at this point in time, depending on the platform or where you're publishing that music, is that the industry is moving towards and gravitating towards where genuine music artists are protected and provided with copyright. So, for example, in the US, the new copyright law in 2025 coming through focuses on the term of significant human input. And to ensure that you have copyright for your music, artists will be required to show that they have provided significant human impact when producing those tracks. In the past, artists haven't needed to go down a path of actually showing how they made their music or proving that it's indeed their own music. But definitely moving forward in this new era of AI and AI in the music industry, more and more, I think we're going to see artists being required to actually show their human interaction, and that is significant human interaction. What that also means is that it doesn't need to be 100% human interaction. So artists can, in some respects, use components of AI to assist with the creation of their music. Indeed, we've seen some artists in late 2025, early 2026, where the significant human interaction has been focused around the songwriting aspect of the production of the track. So even though the artists themselves has certainly been, as we've all seen, an AI-oriented artist, as those tracks were written by genuine songwriters, they have been able to qualify for copyright, and doing so through that significant human interaction. So this component, or this element for music artists, is going to be a fundamental change. The onus will now be on the artists to verify that they indeed own their music. We're going to see new tools coming into the industry for artists to be able to make that easier for them. Certain tools have already started to enter the market from a verification perspective, and we certainly expect to see far more of that, going forward. And the third key area that we wanted to focus on, and last but not least, is what do the fans want? What do music fans around the world really want? Do they want to hear music that's got AI? Do they want to hear tracks that are solely AI? Will they listen to this type of music? And look, without a doubt, the first and foremost important point here is that fans, are voting by saying they want to see genuine music artists rewarded. So they want to make sure that the creative people in the industry, the creative people in the world, are not lost. Certainly not lost to the music industry, and certainly not lost to the world. And from that perspective, we need to make sure that we're protecting our real artists, our laws, our companies, our people involved, our executives. We need to make sure that we are looking after and protecting, these wonderfully creative people that make the amazing music that we've all come accustomed to. That said, there is another element of fan out there that is, entitled to and sharing a different view. And that view is that they are open to listening to AI music. Their criteria is more based around they just want to listen to great music. They want to listen to good music, great music. They want to listen to different music. They want to explore and hear different artists, and they want to hear different types of music, different genres, and certainly be able to engage with different beats, different sounds, different artists. And from that perspective, there is definitely a movement that the industry needs to be aware of, that artists need to be aware of. And we do need to make sure that from our perspective that we are really looking at both how we ensure that real music artists, genuine artists, are protected, and if there is going to be an introduction of AI music, what is the platform for that, and what is the appropriate process for AI music being a part of the music world that we live in the future. We've probably got to a stage where that most music companies, bodies around the world are starting to realise that AI music is probably going to be here to stay. So it's a case of now making sure that we're putting the appropriate framework in place to again make sure that we're supporting the creative people and aspects of the industry, yet at the same point in time being very cognizant of how AI music will infiltrate the industry, and secondly how it can be used from a positive perspective. Now, some of the companies that we've just touched on, or we will briefly go into, we've touched on Suno already. So everyone now, I think, has become very aware of this, very fast-growing platform. Yes, indeed, it's been around for quite a number of years, but over the last 12 to 18 months in particular, particularly with the advent of AI, platforms around the world, particularly companies such as NVIDIA, and the growth and the speed and improvement of the computer chips, particularly late 2025, there were some further advancements that came out in the chip industry, chip area, which is making the ability to produce music based on the formats that the music is based on, lending itself very well to the computer-generated side of things. So from that perspective, Suno has seen very significant growth. Again, as many as 7 million tracks a day, 200 million tracks per month. It's quite staggering numbers and growing. The second is Warner Music. Now, Warner, back in 2025 or late 2025, as you may be aware, but were taking action against Suno in the courts of the USA. Late 2025, early 2026, it became aware that Warner had ceased those actions and had indeed entered a strategic partnership with Suno to build AI tools and AI music. So we wait with bated breath to see what that direction will be. The other major music company that had some interesting news early in 2026 was Universal Music, UMG, who they themselves, the biggest music company in the world, entered a strategic partnership with the actual largest company in the world today, that being NVIDIA that we just spoke about. And interestingly, when a music company enters a partnership with a computer chip company, and indeed the biggest company in the world, one sits up and takes notice of that. And they've entered a partnership at this stage to focus on building better discovery tools, or more discovery tools, or different discovery tools. Just exactly what types of artists that one will be discovering using these chips and tools, we will soon find out in the not too distant future, I'm sure. But from that perspective, again, the big major music labels that represent obviously the big major music artists are making strategic moves. They're making steps in the direction of integrating AI into what they do. From our perspective, we're super interested in other aspects of the music industry, the 11 million genuine artists that are there around the world that are producing music. They're going into studios. Largely, many of these artists are writing songs themselves or engaging songwriters at their own cost, paying for music studios for themselves, going in and developing that music, mastering that music, releasing that music, trying to promote and build their careers. And we're super interested to see how AI can help these artists. We've uncovered some really interesting tools so far that allow artists to verify, genuine real music artists to verify and prove their copyright, such as AI Verify, a product that's recently been released onto the marketplace, and certainly other AI tools that allow genuine real music artists to be able to produce, let's hope, incredibly great music, maybe more efficiently, maybe at a better cost, even for those artists, so the world can see more of these real artists producing more real, genuine music and sharing that with the world. So from that perspective, we're really, I guess, from our angle, looking at what these young artists, these emerging artists, these artists that have been in the industry a long time that are not perhaps being streamed at the top levels. And as we all know, the algorithms of the major music streaming platforms today are very heavily skewed in favour of the top artists, the top 400 or 500 artists. I think in the last 12 months, maybe only 400 artists around the world made the Billboard top 100 music charts. That's a pretty small number when you think about it. Only 400 artists making the top 100 for the whole 52 weeks of the year, when there are 11 million artists that are producing music. So we're really looking forward to seeing how these artists can utilise some of the new tools and indeed some new platforms that we believe are on the way to certainly provide some points of difference, strategic advantage and benefits to these 11 million artists around the world that want to continue to produce their own, genuine, authentic, creative music. So on that note, we'll be keeping a close eye in 2026, but not, as the year progresses, but on an active basis. We'll be sharing updates with you as to what's going on, not just in the music world, but particularly this area of AI music and how AI is being integrated into the music community, and how artists can look to use these tools to their advantage. Once again, I'm Darren Herft. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm looking forward to sharing more with you about the world of AI and AI music in 2026. Thank you very much.